Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week number 7 of HRD 631, the Adult Learner. I want to congratulate everybody on making it this far. We are officially at the halfway point of the course. Pretty amazing. We're at the end of February. This week starts March. The days are getting longer. The sun is brighter. And for those that love the change of season, well, we're still in winter, but things are a-changing. And, I have some friends that are sugaring across the state of Maine at different locations. It's on and off again, but that's how sugaring works. So things are moving, things are progressing, and so are we. So congratulations on everything that you've put into this course so far. So let's get right to week number 7. And the first thing is this overview video. You will have access that through the announcements, or if you're on the Brightspace page, you're in week 7 materials. You can find those the usual way. You come over here, you take a look down, and there it is. As you can see, it's still hidden, but when you get this, it will be open for everybody. So this week, we're looking at 2 chapters. First one is chapter 9, which has to do with embodied, spiritual, and narrative learning. And these are really powerful ways that people learn beyond maybe some more traditional ideas and ways of that adults learn. All of this ties in with the course. All of it ties in with the book, the text. It's not a separate type of learning, and I've had students in the past actually studied all of these topics we're studying this week in their exploration project, and many of them, or a couple of them in particular, have concluded that learning is learning, and at the root of it, learning entails a change of perspective of some kind, a change of knowledge, and that's what we're talking about this week. I've been fascinated with narrative learning for many years. I'm surrounded by, and we have many friends that are nurses, nurse practitioners, paramedics, and to watch them in action where they talk about a patient. They never mention names because it doesn't matter, but they might talk about the heart arrhythmias or what was going on with this person. And they sit around talking, and they, as a consequence of that, they learn a tremendous amount. And I've talked to them about this because as you know, I'm an adult learning geek, and they quickly say that is one of the biggest and the most powerful ways that they learn. Yes, they can use the internet, they can use their books, they can use many different ways, they can look at research, but they learn a tremendous amount by talking, and that's a great thing. Embodied, spiritual, or other aspects that you'll dive into in chapter 9. Chapter 10, non-Western perspectives, which can include, but it's not exclusive to, Eastern and indigenous perspectives. Now, these two have been modified substantially in the current text that we are using. So I think that's a fascinating thing. Many of these approaches, both of the approaches in chapters 9 and 10, and all of the approaches really have to do with a communal learning rather than individual. So much of it in our country is the individual accomplishments and where are you on the scale. I took one of the schools I went to, it was one of the first schools that I got my associate's degree from the State University of New York, College of Environmental Science and Forestry, New York State Ranger School, one of the oldest forestry school in the country. I was up in the middle of the Adirondacks in New York State. And back then, getting to the individual nature of how we learn and the competition, believe it or not, this was in the late 70s. Many of all of our grades were posted on a huge, board out in the hallway so everybody could see. And they could see who was won, and they would, even if you were below 70, they had your name up there, and it would go in red, which nowadays is unheard of. But the individual nature was very strong. It doesn't mean that we didn't learn from each other, but the competition. And I think you'll find with the topics that we're going to be exploring this week, it's more communal in nature. So let's get to the specifics. Specifically, I'd like you to read chapter 9 and chapter 10. Also have some optional readings for you to take a look at. Read if you have time. They're all excellent and they augment the textbook. Have videos embodied in spiritual learning. The TED Talk is fabulous on narrative learning. And then the non-Western perspective and the traditions is well worth watching. We have the learning reflection paper due on March 6th. And then week 7 discussion. Now, since we have an assignment coming up this week, I've decided to make your participation in, it's a mouthful, your participation in week 7 optional. So I'd love for you to participate, and I think there will be some people that just want to participate because this is a discussion-rich, these topics are discussion-rich that hopefully you'll want to put something on the discussion post, but this is entirely optional. I'd like you to work on your reflection paper, and you can work some of these themes. Believe it or not, you can work some of these themes into your exploration project and also your learning autobiography at the end of the course. Okay, the assignments. The reflection paper have a video on this screencast. If there's a date or two in there, don't worry about it. The intent of this is for you to get a better understanding of what the paper is about. It is not a recap of chapters 1 through 7. It is you to write about some important and big ideas that hit you when you're reading it. I have a couple of references in here and a video on formatting. I'm not going to be focusing in on the all aspects of the formatting. I'm not going to deduct points if you have the period in a wrong spot, but I would like you to take a stab. If you're citing something, there's some basic rules that you should follow when you're in text citing something. Not that difficult to do. So I'd like you to refresh your memory, or maybe you're not familiar at all with APA formatting. We have 2 sources in here. I have 2 sources. Exploration projects, book excerpts for week number 8. So right now we're going to present in 12 and 13, but I think I'm going to stretch it out. So weeks 11, 12, 13, and 14. Next week, I'll send out a doodle poll where you can actually sign up for where you want to present. More information on this. Also, a heads up, next week, we're going to be discussing one of these books. There's excerpts of each one of these if you want to just get ahead and take a look at those, excerpts on each one of these in the electronic reserves that we have. So, that's it. Here's a look at next week, what we're going to be doing. But down here, an overview and introduction to week 7, an advanced organizer for 8, the electronic reserve optional materials, and then we have the advanced organizer, which I kind of double that up. Optional discussion forum for this week, and then the learning reflection paper. So let me just go to where you can find the information for this. Okay, so in the syllabus, we have the learning reflection paper. I'm not going to go over this because it's in the video, but a couple of big things I'd like to focus in on. One paper, at least 3 to 4 pages long, double-spaced, 12 font. I'd like you to use a cover page and the information on APA formatting. It's not that complicated to put a cover page and put a final page. It's a separate page called your references page. So anything that you want and you cite and one would be the textbook. So this paper is an opportunity to focus on the big ideas about the course reading as they relate to your current and future practices as adult education, or to demonstrate your learning about the topics of particular interest. So to me, I've always thought of learning reflection papers just as it sounds. You are reflecting on the materials. Now, some people give me in chapter 1, we did this, chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., or in week number 1, 2, 3. I'm really not looking for a rundown of everything we've covered in this course. I'm really looking for, just say that McCluskey's theory of margin hit you and you wanted to talk about that in more detail. You can talk about it there. You can also, if you really have to and you want to give a complete rundown of what we've done, touch upon them, that's okay, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a true reflection on the materials. There's rubrics in here, but I covered this in the video, so I will stop right there. So, let me come down here. Just while I'm here, let's take a look at this. We are in week number 7, reflection paper. Week number 8, what we have coming up at the end of March is the exploration project. And next week, we're going to be taking a look at these books. If you're going on a trip, you want to get ahead, our schedule is right in the syllabus, so you can take a look at that. So, that is, let me go back to our Brightspace page. So that is it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here to help. And I hope you have a fabulous week. If you can, I'd love it if you participated in the optional discussion forum. But if not, don't worry, you won't be marked off. Let me know if you have any questions about your learning reflection paper, and if you need some kind of accommodation, couple extra days or such, let me know. I'm here to help. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you online.